trudging slowly over wet sand back to the bench where your clothes were stolen. This is the coastal town that they forgot to close down. Armageddon. Come, Armageddon. Come, Armageddon. Come. It was at this point I realised I should have just taken Morrissey to Chessington like he'd asked. Joining me tonight, our last lot of fresh teams for this series. Let's say our first hello to, on my right, Niall Williams, an optical technician who's an enthusiastic wrestler. Ian Wellham, a retired maths teacher who has a Welsh grandfather, a Cornish grandmother and went to school on the Isle of Man. And their captain, Lawrence Cook, an organic chemist who was the first person to sing in Hull's first ever karaoke contest. United by their Celtic heritage, they are the Dragons. Lawrence, a Welsh team. That's bad news for the other side, isn't it? How happy are you to be in Cardiff?
Oh, it's great to be back in the land of my mothers. As we crossed the border last night, we were singing Bread of Heaven, and we did it in the pub last night too. Well,
I'll try not to ruin the city for you on this visit. You will be playing on my left. Tom Chisholm, a former stage manager who recently fashioned a small cactus from felt. Abbas Panjwani, an English graduate who used to work as a sandwich artist. And their captain, Megan Stodel, a social researcher who has had significant dental work in Kazakhstan. United by a passion for plays, they are the Westenders. Megan, how do you know your teammates?
Well, we all met at work several years ago and we've been friends ever since.
And are any of you at all Welsh?
My name is Welsh. Does that count?
Close enough. Good luck. Dragons, you won the toss, so you will be able to choose the first question of the match.
OK, we'll have water, please.
Water. Oh, it's the music question. I thought I said don't give the music question to the Welsh. It's the music question. You'll be hearing your clues. Something connects them. What is it? Time starts now.
Next. Get up, get happy. Let's get ready for stuff. Next.
It's called
Get ready, here I come.
No, it's just called Get Ready. It's by The Temptations.
That was like Get Happy.
Yeah, have the old instructions. Get something.
Get happy and get
What will we get the first one?
All the songs are instructing you to get something.
Unusually coming in early on the music question, you are correct for 2 points. Very well done. Didn't need to hear Get Lucky at the end. What did we hear?
I'm not sure on the first one at all. We didn't hear a lot of it. The second one was, I think...
Get Happy, was it?
Get Happy.
Yeah, most associated with Judy Garland, really, that song, Get Happy.
Third one was Get Ready by The Temptations.
Sung by The Temptations, written by Smokey Robinson. The first one, everyone's favourite LCD sound system, Get Innocuous.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I know everyone was shouting that at home. Very well done for 2 points. Westenders, what would you like?
Twisted Flax, please.
The Twisted Flax, you will be seeing up to 4 clues. What do they have in common? First one coming in now.
Okay. A to M.
That sounds like labels on the English
Yeah, maybe. Next. A to P. It's the 13th, go to 1st to 13th and 1st to 15th.
1 to 13, 1 to 15.
Next. S to P. And that's going... Yes, it's not alphabetical.
Conversion of units or something?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Next.
Oh, Seth.
2 seconds.
Roads.
I'm afraid that's not it. So there's a chance for a bonus point for you, Dragons.
I don't think at all, can you?
No, you don't know either.
No, we don't.
Now you'll be kicking yourselves. Megan, you have it in your clutches. You've said it. Imagine if you wrote down A to M, A to P, S to P, S to W. You get the words atom, atop, stop, stow. The arrow represents 2. You can make words if you put it in there. And not many. There's only 3 other words you could have, which would be acceptable in Scrabble. Stot, a Scottish word for bounce. Stob, another Scottish or Northern English word for a broken stump. And stower, a classical portico or colonnade. Dragons, what would you like?
2 reeds, please.
2 reeds. OK, what do these clues have in common? Here's the first.
Hot rum and egg whites for a cocktail. No, I don't. It's probably something very convoluted. Next. Tom and Jerry, they were called.
Yes.
So what's the first one?
I think the first one might also be Tom and Jerry, but try the third one first.
Next, please.
Yes, Tom and Jerry.
Good. I'm just going to use at the time. Good and Ledbetter. They're called Tom and Jerry, aren't they?
I think they're always called Tom and Jerry.
Yeah. All called Tom and Jerry.
Very well done. Last clue would have been Cat and Mouse, the cartoon characters. What's going on at clue 3? Who are these people?
Yeah, The Good Life. There's Tom Good and Jerry Ledbetter.
Exactly
Former
right.
workmates, and Simon Garfunkel were Tom and Jerry at one point.
Yeah, that was good knowledge that they used to be Tom and Jerry. And the hot rum and egg whites, it's a sort of
Must be called a
eggnog,
Tom
I
and
suppose, and it's known as Tom and Jerry. Sounds absolutely delicious.
I'd have a go.
Well done. Westenders, what would you like?
Lion, please.
Lion. OK, what do these clues have in common? Here's the first.
Bio. Video. Next.
Okay, so it's a chain of
It's
bars.
a chain of pubs. Does it have spoons? Is it always with spoons on the end or something? Next.
Albus Dumbledore and J.D. Witherspoon.
Does J.D. stand for anything? Or are they named after headmasters or named after people? James. Is James a decent shout?
No, okay,
Next. James.
Yeah.
James?
I'm afraid that's not the connection. So, Dragons, you've got another bonus chance.
All of those people there were named after teachers.
Named after teachers. Talk me through those clues.
I'm not sure on the first one at all. I've heard J.D. Wetherspoon was named after someone in authority, but I didn't know who. And Niall tells me
He was Albus Severus, named
Albus.
after the 2 headmasters of Hogwarts.
That's right.
and the band Leonard Skinner, their gym teacher, was called Leonard Skinner.
Yes, it was sort of mocking tribute because he was very grumpy if people had their hair too long. And you're right, J.D. Wetherspoon, named after a very important authority figure. J.D. Boshog from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's right. And the geography teacher, Wetherspoon. The J.D. is from the TV show Wetherspoon is the teacher. And the first one, Dr. Josette Bio, a teacher from the Philippines who was the first Asian person to win the Intel Excellence in Teaching Award. And actually an asteroid is named after her, Planet Bio. But it's not a planet, it's an asteroid. Very well done for the bonus. They're all named after teachers. And what would you like for your own question?
We'll have the Horned Viper, please.
OK, these are going to be picture clues. What connects them? Here's the first.
Oh, some sort of orchid, isn't it?
Don't know yet.
Next. Plums. Oh, right then. Orchid is... it means testicles.
Plums are
Plums are testicles.
Nickname,
But
for
also
example.
it's OP, so...
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, no, it's not.
go next, shall we?
It's up to you.
Next. What the hell is that?
It's like a smash packet of mustard, but I'm not sure.
And next, please. It's a peacock.
3 seconds.
All slang words for testicles.
I must say, I'm very glad you took all the clues, or I'd have thought I might have to give you the points for that. I'm afraid that is not the connection. Westenders, do you want to have a go for a bonus point?
Cluedo characters.
They are Cluedo characters. What are we looking at?
So you'd have Professor Plum, Colonel Mustard,
Mrs. Peacock.
Mrs. Peacock, and...
It's Dr. Orchid. I've ranted about her before. Yes, she's a sort
new one.
of sexy scientist that came in to replace Mrs. White. Had you buzzed after 2 clues, Orchid and Plum, and shouted testicles, I might have been offended, but I'd probably have had to give you the point. Fortunately, mustard, as far as I know, at time of recording, is not slang for anything medical.
It is now.
As for Mrs. Peacock, I make no comment. So well done, Westenders. You get the bonus and the last question of the round, the Eye of Horus. Something connects these apparently random clues. What is it? Your time starts now.
Okay. Fine. Next.
Next.
Oh, are these...
Are they like introduced more recently or something? Or are they just
Are these films? Are these films about
Best title writing isn't a thing.
Exactly. Should we get the next?
Next.
Oh, so these
Are they,
these
like, they must be in
extinct?
something. Well, they're not being extinct, like, surely. Surely it's just that they just don't exist, but then they're used in something. Next. Yeah, so maybe they used to exist.
Yeah.
Discontinued prizes for things.
I need to hear something specific.
They were there, but no one ever won. Well, no one ever entered.
No one's ever won them.
Not close enough, I'm afraid. Dragons, do you want to have a go for a bonus point?
Were they ones that were never chosen at all, discarded?
That's not right, and I think the other team might have guessed that. They are discontinued, having been awarded once. One time ever a Pulitzer Prize was given for newspaper history. Oscar for Best Title Writing is very interesting. It was awarded to Joseph F. Farnham in 1928. And Best Title Writing meant the title cards in a silent film, like script writing, but writing what came up in the titles. And by the following year, the talkies had taken over so much, they discontinued the category. Olympic gold medal was once given for cricket in 1900, and the BBC Young Plumber of the Year, brilliant, awarded to Amy Patterson in 2010. And there was a 2-day competition, apparently. She had to unblock a toilet and solder a nightmare plumbing maze. I mean, my whole house is a nightmare plumbing maze, don't worry about that. But it was given one time only. That means at the end of round 1, the Westenders have 1 point, the Dragons have 5. So the Dragons have the Westenders by the absolute mustards at the moment, but it could all change as we enter round 2. This is the sequences round. Dragons, you'll be going first again. Please choose a hieroglyph.
We'll have the Eye of Horus, please.
The Eye of Horus. You'll be seeing the first in a sequence. I want to know what comes forth. Your time starts now.
Next. 1.5. Some sort of mathematical inverse. Next, please. OK. So it's a quarter, 2/3, and that's 2/3.
So it'd be a quarter.
So is it divided by... No.
Yes, it'll be
That's 2/3. That's 3/2.
2. That's
4/1. 3/2. 2/3. 1/4. 1.25. 0.25.
Is the right answer. And why is that?
4/1. 3/2. 2/3. 1/4.
That's absolutely right. They're sort of sums where the numerator is going down and the denominator is going up. So we want 1/4 in decimal 0.25. Well calculated. Back to you, Westenders, for a choice.
Water, please.
Water. OK, what would come forth in this sequence? Here's the first.
Well, it's in Russian, isn't it? So we need the next. Okay.
Next.
Okay. I mean, the first one, it's like it's phonetic, like phonetic spelling, but I don't know why. Okay, so New Year's Eve. N-Y-T-H-E-T.
Next. That's
N-Y,
the answer.
so N, so just...
So just N. What would N? What's an element?
Nitrogen.
Nitrogen's N.
Yeah.
Nitrogen.
Is an acceptable answer. And why is that?
Because it's just N. Whereas it goes NY for New York, NYE for New Year's Eve. Not sure about the
Niet.
first one.
It's
oh,
niet in
Right.
Russian. So something that's represented by the letter N, for example, nitrogen, or, of course, night, which, as everyone knows, is represented by the letter N in chess notation. Not a K, which is for the king. N, such a commonly known fact, you'd barely have to explain it if it came up in a quiz. Night, represented by the letter N. Very well done. Dragons, what would you like?
We'll have Lion, please.
Lion. OK, this is going to be a series of picture clues. What would you expect to see in the fourth picture? Time starts now.
The Ark. Yeah, good. Ark. Next. Oh, and what's his name from Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It's Christopher Lloyd. I can't remember the character's name. Oh, Doctor something. Next, please. Knights.
Crusaders.
Oh, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, next one.
Temple of Doom. Oh, Doctor Doom something. So it's the King of the Crystal Skull, the last one?
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull's called.
Yes. Skull, then.
Skull.
I'd expect to see a skull.
And you'd expect correctly it is a skull. For what reason?
The first one's Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is the first Indiana Jones film. The second one is, I think he's something Doom.
Judge Doom.
Judge Doom. Yes, and A Crusade, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull there.
Absolutely right. Well done. Westenders, what would you like next?
Twisted Flax, please.
The Twisted Flax. OK, what would come forth in this sequence? Here's the first.
Okay, it's the Chelsea Football Ground.
Also the battle that precedes Hastings.
Okay. Next.
Okay.
Okay, so what would this...
So it could be Champions League final places, but
Okay.
I don't know if Stamford Bridge
What
isn't
could it be
big
to do
enough.
with capacity, size, number of seats?
Go next.
Next.
Millennium Stadium.
That's a big one, isn't it?
This could be... It could be Wembley Stadium again, because it's like the FA Cup went from Wembley to Millennium back. So it could
Would
be
it have been at Stamford Bridge?
I don't think it probably would have, but I don't think it would have, but I can't think of anything else.
Wembley Stadium again?
Is the right answer. Now, you thought that might be the answer, Abbas. Why?
I think it might be the locations of the FA Cup finals, because it went from Wembley to Millennium when Wembley was being redone. And then, but I never knew that it was at Stamford Bridge, and I'm...
That's right, only for a couple of years. It started at Wembley Stadium in 1923, but 1920, 21 and 22 it was at Stamford Bridge. And it was in a few places before that, Crystal Palace, Old Trafford, various places. It moved around a bit, but Stamford Bridge for a few years, then Wembley, then the Millennium Stadium, and then back to Wembley Stadium. Well done. Dragons, what would you like?
We'll go for 2 reeds, please.
2 reeds. What would come forth in the 2 reed sequence? Here's the first.
Don't know that person. Next. Oh, Grover Cleveland against Harrison. I'll go next.
Harrison, I don't know who Tilden is, though. There's no one called. Yes, go.
Next, please.
It's vice presidents, I think. So who's it?
But,
It's vice presidents. So who's it?
so what's the...
It'll be Obama, and who's his vice president?
Biden?
Yes, try Biden and Obama.
2 seconds.
Oh, we'll go for Trump, Pence, 2016.
The other way around, Pence.
Pence, Trump, 2016.
I'm afraid that's not a sequence. Westenders, do you want to have a go for a bonus point?
It's Clinton-Trump 2016.
It is Clinton-Trump 2016, and why is that?
It's the presidential contests in which the winner did not win the popular vote.
That's right. These are situations where the first person in the clue won the popular vote, but the second person won the election.
Right.
Hillary Clinton won the vote, Trump is president, same with Gore and Bush, Cleveland, Harrison, and going back to Samuel J. Tilden and Rutherford B. Hayes in 1876. So well done for the bonus point, and it's your turn for a question. It'll be the Horned Viper. What will come forth in this sequence? Here's the first.
Next.
Z's like a type of number. Z's an actual number.
I'm going to go for them.
Just next.
Next. What ZYX goes? Obviously that's backwards, so...
Okay, so V.
So what's...
W, sorry.
Yeah, so then Y...
Is this QWERTY? What's last on there?
Oh, God. But no,
2
it's not.
seconds.
W brackets R.
Not the answer, I'm afraid. Dragons, last chance for bonus in this round.
It's W brackets D.
It is W brackets D. And why is that?
Ian told me.
Go on in.
Well, because it's the pronunciation of the word that W begins with D sound.
That's right. Westenders, you're being
Clever.
very good on the knowledge and you're not spotting the word puzzles. If you wrote it out, we are going backwards through the alphabet, but if you wrote the letter Z, it would start with a Z. Y starts with a W, X with an E, and the next one, W, would start with a D if you were writing it out.
Clever.
That means at the end of round 2, the Westenders have 6 points, the Dragons have 10. Time for the connecting wall now, and Westenders, it's your turn to go first, so please choose lion or water.
Water, please.
OK, you have 2.5 minutes to solve the water wall, starting now.
What different types of old act, like beat, mimic, silent actors or something?
Yeah. Got Ice Age.
Mimics, so kind of this lot of things that
Oh,
all
right,
sound the same.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Ape is also.
Yep.
So,
So dropping copy.
Okay. So silent film, lost film. A stringer, isn't that like a type of journalist? And the beat is a type of journalist.
Yes.
The copy is a type of journalist too.
okay. Pool
maybe-
as well.
Yep.
Okay. Was it?
File? Okay, so maybe
You're
take
the-
out pool and...
Take out pool.
sorry, take out mail and just do the other 5. So missing out.
Copy. Was it stringer or something?
Take out file maybe as well.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so what have we got?
3 lives now.
Chatterbox, beatbox, icebox,
Nice.
gearbox,
Yes.
and mailbox.
Yes.
So silent, greatest, and lost. Are they not kind of like do with
Lost Boys.
films or ages or?
Greatest Generation, The Lost
Oh
Generation.
yes, Silent Generation.
the Beat Generation.
Beat Generation is the other one.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
Silent, beat, greatest, lost.
That's it, you've solved the wall. Very nice, as you say. Nice. What about the connections? Tell me about the first blue group, ape, clone, and so on.
They're sort of synonyms for copying.
For copy or replicate, exactly so. And the green group, copy, file, stringer, pool.
They're all sort of termed to describe someone who's working in newspapers or like a journalist working on copy.
It's newspaper terminology, that's right. A pool of journalists, a stringer, somebody that's filing stories from around the place. Journalistic terminology. And the next group, silent, beat, lost, greatest.
They're all generations.
They are generations. Which was the greatest generation?
The ones who
Not
fought
the
in World War II.
40s.
Fought and lived through World War II, exactly so. The turquoise group, mail, gear, ice, chatter.
They all precede box.
They can be followed by box. So that is all the connections and the bonus. Well done, you got the maximum of 10 points. Let's bring in their opponents now, the dragons, and give them the other wall, the lion wall. See how they get on with solving it. You have 2.5 minutes to solve this wall, starting now.
Rouge, eyeliner, mascara. You've got rouge, rouge, blanc,
Powder as well. Some
French colours, or
or noir.
noir. So leave out
Rose as well.
rouge,
Oh, it's fair.
leave out
That's
or.
fair. That's fair.
Oh, 6.
What about Brooks, Mel Blanc, Mel Gibson?
Well done, Ian. Mel
the
Rose,
Mel.
maybe?
Is that
Just
a
never heard of Mel Rose.
Either.
Mel Vert? Mel Blanc, we had, didn't we? Not Mel Powder in.
Mel Blanc.
Mel.
Trigger's not Mel, is he? No, I don't think so. No.
Oh, God. Mel Brooks. Mel. What could it be?
Might not be Mel.
Mel C.
Mel
Oh,
C.
well done,
Yes,
you.
good. Yes.
I mean,
Oh dear.
Yeah.
You mean?
Good you guys.
so that's, we've got rid of blank, so we'll
Well,
go through these. So leave out.
Well, just a minute, let's see if it's. Go on then.
What else?
Let's say something.
Should we
Got
leave
rid
out,
of.
leave out Rose and
Leave
leave
out.
out Noir or
Yeah.
Rouge?
Leave out Rose. Leave out Rouge. Trigger's a horse. Triggers in only fools and horses. There's a trigger on a gun. You pull the trigger, you pull nothing else. Eyeliner, mascara, foundation. Should we go rouge or powder?
Try Rouge.
No.
Trigger, friendship, witchcraft.
30 seconds.
Come on.
Miss Mascara, put foundation, eyeliner, powder and rouge.
1 life.
Could it be? I'm going to leave out for that foundation, I think.
Yeah, go on then, yeah.
Nope, that's your 3rd life, and the wall
What
has
is it?
frozen. But you found 2 groups, and what about the connections? Gibson, C, and so on?
All famous Mel's.
They are the Mel's. You took your sweet time with Mel
we
C,
did.
but you found her in the end. And the green group, Rose, Noir, or there.
French colours.
Colours.
Colours in French, that's it. And you can still get points for the connections in the groups you didn't find, so let's resolve the wall. Trigger, eyeliner, friendship, witchcraft. I can't give you
All
long.
famous horses.
They are not all famous horses. No, you're going to kick yourselves. They end in boats. Look at the end there. Rigger, liner, ship, craft.
They're the ones I can't get.
Water vessels were hiding there. And the last group, foundation, mascara, rouge, powder.
Makeup.
That's
We
the
tried so
makeup.
hard with that as well.
You did very well. Your makeup knowledge was really
There we are.
impressive. But you did find 2 groups and you gave me 3 connections. That's a total of 5. Let's have a look at the overall scores. The Westenders have 16 points. The Dragons have 15. So it's changed round a bit at the wall, but it will change again as we enter the missing vowels round. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Be careful, because you can also lose points here. I will tell you that the first group of disguised clues are all things that can hang over us. Westenders?
Chandelier.
Correct. Westenders?
Mobile.
Correct. Dragons?
The Sword of Damocles.
Correct. Westenders?
Dark clouds.
Correct. Next category, instructions for the hokey cokey. Westenders?
You put your right leg in.
Yes, you do. Dragons?
You put your right
Not
leg-
it, I'm
sorry.
afraid you lose a point. Westenders, do you know?
Put your whole self in.
Yes, you do. Westenders?
Turn around.
Correct. Dragons?
Knees bend, arm stretch, rah, rah, rah.
Lovely. Next category, they live in hotels. Dragons?
Alan Partridge.
Correct. Westenders?
Howard Hughes.
Correct. Westenders?
Sybil Faulty.
Correct. That last one was Jack Torrance from The Shining, but the horror is finished here for the evening because the bell has gone for the end of the quiz. And looking at the final scores, with 24 points straight through to the next round, it's the Westenders. Very well done. And in noble second place with 17 points, it's the Dragons. You're not going home. You'll be back to play another match later in the series, I'm glad to say. Lovely to meet you all. Thanks very much for watching. And before we go, I've had several more letters in about our exciting new question editing duo of Mr. Whaley Cohen and David McGahey, the partner who'd be an exact lookalike for Mr. Whaley Cohen if it weren't for the abundant ginger hair and giant Stetson. Viewers are keen for an insight into their working relationship, which I have to say seems quite tempestuous. Often when I'm passing the office they share, I hear shouting coming from within. The other day, I hurried in to try to make peace between them, but only Mr. Whaley Cohen seemed to be there. He quickly explained that David McGahey was hiding in the filing cabinet through shame. And in fact, only a few moments after I'd left the room, David McGahey hurried down the corridor after me, Stetson askew, to explain in his trademark patchy Texan drawl that he was sorry for the disturbance and Mr. Whaley Cohen was completely right about everything, as always. Goodbye.